everyone and welcome to my channel. Since this is my first video, I really wanted to do like an introduction, tell you a little bit about myself, tell you a little bit about my Sylvanian collection, and I thought whilst we were doing that I would set up a little scene for you with the village store, the village cake shop and the Watermill bakery, which you can see on the desk here. So let's get on with the time lapse of that and I'll tell you a little bit about myself and my collection. So I guess first things first is a little bit about me. So I go by Peachy, obviously scary internet, no real names. I live in the UK and I'm an adult collector, and I've been collecting now on and off for about 25 years, I'd say. That's going right back to my childhood. I wanted to start this YouTube channel to firstly share my collection with other like-minded people, and also kind of try to find a community of other adult collectors. I've been quite inspired by some of the channels that I enjoy watching, and I thought, hey, that looks really fun. I think I'd like to give that a try, see how it goes, see if we can keep building on this community. It's just nice to be able to talk with other adult collectors, because obviously Sylvanians are toys, and obviously they are designed for children, but I think there is such an aspect that maybe I know I didn't appreciate as a child, all the little tiny details and all the intricate stories that, yeah, I definitely didn't appreciate when I was little as much as I do now. So yeah, that's why I'm starting this channel, and I hope you'll come along with me and enjoy the videos and getting to know all about my little village and my villagers. So I got my first Sylvanians in my childhood, and I must have been about 5 or 6 years old when I got my first sets and families. They were mostly birthday and Christmas presents, but I'm a little fuzzy on remembering exactly when I got what. I did speak to my mum about it to see if she could remember, but yeah, she was fuzzy on the details. I guess it was quite a long time ago now. I do remember, I'm pretty certain that the first family I got were the White Rabbits. They're the Snow Warren family, I believe. And I remember getting them because I cuddly toy White Rabbit ever since I was a baby, so I'm guessing I kind of had a thing for White Rabbits when I was a child. So yeah, I'm 99% sure that that's the first family I got, and I've still got them. They're a little bit worse for wear, they're very well loved, and obviously being white and with the aging, but I'm glad that they're still here with me. And then the first building I got, I want to say was probably the Meadowcroft cottage, but yeah, I'm a little fuzzy on the childhood details. As I got a bit older, I think my parents kind of stopped buying me souvenirs. I probably wasn't showing much interest anymore, but I never got rid of any of the sets and the buildings and the figures that I had. I always hung on to them because I could never bring myself to get rid of them. There was always just something there, like they held really happy memories, so I'm so glad that my younger self didn't end up selling them or passing them down the family. Then in around, I want to say 2008 or 2009, I went through what I call my second era of collecting, when I got really heavily back into Sylvanians, but this time more as a collector rather than obviously playing with them as a child. And the bulk of my collection was purchased during between about 2008 to about 2012, 2013. It was a lot of the Flair era sets. From my childhood, I've got some of the Tommy sets, and then yeah, this second era was a lot of Flair stuff, and I really, really love a lot of that kind of 2008 to about 2014. The sets that came out then were just wonderful, and I think they're some of my favourite sets and buildings and families. That Flair era for me, when they were doing a lot of UK exclusive stuff, so I was very lucky to be in kind of right place to kind of be in the heart of it. But the range that came out at that time, it gave me that really quintessentially English village. It reminded me a lot of where my grandmother lived and the places that I'd visit with my parents, and I absolutely fell in love with so many of those sets. So yeah, the bulk of my collection is from that era. And then I stopped, I kind of tailed off collecting again around about, I want to say 2012, 2013, just because I was desperately running out of space, was running out of storage, didn't really have anywhere to put much else. So I slowly started kind of only buying the sets that I really, really, really loved. And then eventually it's just, space was at such a premium that I just kind of said, right, I've got to stop. I've got to stop, which was sad, but kind of is what it is. Then in 2015, my mum ended up selling our family home. I'd already moved out by that point, but I'd been using my old bedroom as kind of a Sylvanian storage room. It was quite a small room, so yeah, I'd been using it to store all of my Sylvanian stuff there, rather than taking it with me when I moved out. But of course, the house was being sold, so I went and I kind of saved all my Sylvanian stuff, brought it to my flat. And we have this big cupboard in the hall, so I just kind of ended up having to put it in there and in another cupboard, and yeah, that's kind of where it lived, in storage in my whole cupboard, for quite some time. And I didn't add anything to my collection in the years between kind of 2015 and 2020. But again, I never could part with it. I knew I wanted to keep everything, and that one day, like, the dream is obviously to move into my own house, and at that point I would hope to have ample space to kind of display things. So I knew I wanted to keep hold of everything until we could get to that point of just having more space. It's always about space. So then it must have been Christmas 2020, I was just watching, it was either TV or YouTube or something, and I saw this Sylvanian Families advert, and it was like, it wasn't for a particular product, it was just like a kind of a brand advert as a whole. And it got me thinking, oh my gosh, I wonder, because I hadn't opened any of my collection for, it had just been all sat boxed up for quite some time. So I was like, oh, I should check on it, make sure it's all okay. So I started going through slowly, making sure everything's okay, making sure the bits were there and everything. And I just started falling in love with all the pieces all over again. I'd forgotten some of the little bits and pieces that I had, like furniture sets, and I thought, hey, I wonder if, well, it must still be available because there was an advert on the TV or YouTube or wherever it was. I wonder what kind of stuff they're producing now. I wonder what new sets there are. And then from there, I kind of fell down the rabbit hole and started collecting again. At first, it was the Town series that I was really interested in getting some pieces from. I really like the kind of Georgian architecture of those buildings. It really reminds me of like London, kind of the older parts of London, and I love all the little intricate kind of details on the buildings and how fancy it looks, and the fancy clothes that the older sister characters are wearing. So I got a few pieces from the Town series, and then I fell into the trap of looking on eBay and seeing what kind of stuff they had on there, and finding a load of Flair, kind of tail end of Flair era sets that I had never seen before and I didn't have. And then I ended up picking up some older sets secondhand, and it kind of snowballed from there, and I've been slowly adding bits and pieces to my existing collection, including some buildings that I had decided I didn't have room for in my second era of collecting, but now having a little bit more space, I added some of those, and picking up a lot of the families that I had missed or kind of hadn't paid attention to. I now have a very long wish list of things, and I think I will just carry on slowly adding to my collection. I think I've got most of the buildings that I want now, and so I'll justify it to myself that the little sets can fit within the boxes of the bigger sets and the buildings. So that's fine because it won't take up any additional space to what it's already taking up. She says, having purchased another building the other day, which I don't really have anywhere to put, but we'll worry about that later. Then recently in the summer, we went over to my partner's house, and my partner's mum and dad had been doing some clearing out in the loft and things like that, and they'd come across a load of the Sylvanians my partner and their sister had from childhood, and knowing how much I love Sylvanians, they kindly gave all of that to me to take care of and clean up and whatnot, because it had been sitting in the attic for a very, very long time, and that was more Tommy era stuff that I didn't have, and I was so excited. It was like Christmas all over again. And we also found some bits and bobs that my partner had bought during the 2010s era of collecting, because we've been together for 11 years now. So we got all those bits back and kind of put everything back into one collection. And my partner's sister is just a little bit older than us, about 2 or 3 years, so when she was little, she was at the prime age for all of those very first Sylvanian items that came out in the late 80s. So I got some really lovely pieces from that endeavour, which I will hopefully share specific videos for on this channel, along with all the other bits and bobs. So I guess that brings me on to kind of what I want to do with this channel and the kind of stuff I want to put on here, and I kind of want to almost video document my collection, so kind of have specific videos for specific buildings and sets and the families, and I'd like to do more kind of time-lapse stuff like this video where I kind of set up a little display. I've got very, very limited space to actually have things out on display, so I've got basically one kind of side table at the moment, so I change the display quite regularly. So I'll probably do time-lapse videos of setting up those new Sylvanian scenes, and probably unboxing videos of purchases I've made, whether that be new sets that are widely available and I've just happened to add to my collection now, or kind of vintage sets that I've got from eBay or Mercari, Japan, and things like that. So yeah, that's kind of a bit about me and my collection and what I want to do with this channel. So I really hope you'll join me on this journey and enjoy the videos, and we can talk about all things Sylvanian. So there we are, here's the finished scene. So we've got the Watermill bakery and the donut shop with the Apple Blossom family, mother and father, and their daughters off to do some deliveries. Then we've got the juice bar and the village cake shop. Mrs. Cake Bread there, putting the final touches on her window display. We've got the fruit wagon and the village store with the village storekeepers, and the little red telephone box, which I absolutely love because it's absolutely adorable. So yes, here's the finished scene, all ready and open for business.